Hello everyone and welcome back to the garden. This is a little different. This isn't my normal garden. This is my new growing space. I'm going to make a full tour video of this very soon, so stay tuned for that. But in this video, I'm going to be building a new greenhouse. You know, I've built my own greenhouse in the past. I'm very familiar with growing greenhouses, building greenhouses, that kind of thing. I was recently contacted by Quictent and asked if I wanted to try out one of their greenhouse kits, and I totally jumped at the chance because I know y'all are always asking me about building greenhouses, how to do it, you know, an easy, cost-effective solution for your backyard. This is a sponsored video, and that Quictent sent me this greenhouse free of charge in exchange for my honest review, and that's what I'm going to do, be completely honest about this. It came in this large box. And this box was about 60 pounds, if I'm recalling correctly. And as you can see, it had all of the different parts that I needed to build a 20-foot long greenhouse that was, I believe, 10 foot wide and just over 6 foot tall. So it came with these extender poles, or arched poles, the connectors, and it has the plastic and these instructions with the clear instructions for putting the hoop house together. There is a green version of this hoop house as well, but I went with a white one simply because that's going to be the best one for seed starting and things like that. To get started, all I did was divide each of the poles and the connectors into separate piles based on their label. Each one of these pieces was labeled. There were a couple pieces that the sticker had fallen off of them and didn't have a label, but I was pretty much able to figure out what went where with very little problem. As I was putting this together, I did notice that I'd made a few mistakes. Sometimes I accidentally made connectors put together backwards. So if you're putting one of these together as well, that's something to keep in mind to make sure all the connectors and the poles go together. I just kind of laid out each of the sections, you know, in a rough kind of area in the yard, and that made putting them together super quick. When it came time to connect. You can see these poles are metal. They actually connect with this little kind of pop button design, similar to a lot of different tents that I've used in the past. You just push that little button down and make sure that it pops through that little hole. For the most part, this process was extremely easy. Most of these holes lined up really easily and went in there nice. I did have some trouble with some of these connectors though. It seems like in a couple spots on the poles, some of the paint was a little bit thicker than it should have been, and I had to kind of sand off that paint to get them to go through the holes and to fit properly in place. So some of the connections were very, very snug and a little, you know, required a little bit of effort to get those joints together. But I wanted to make sure to do it myself so I could give you a fair representation of the ease of how this actually went together. There was only one joint that was very, very difficult that I couldn't even get together with my hands. And I ended up having to take the pole in the garage and put it in a vise and use a pair of pliers and really just heave ho on the thing to get together. But I did get it together. So aside from that little bit of frustration on that one joint, this came together really nicely. And to my surprise, it was actually very easy to stand these poles up and connect them with those long connectors. I was surprised by that because, you know, I've built, you know, PVC hoop houses in the past, and that was one of the more difficult aspects of it, was the connection. This hoop house is supposedly anchored with these pins. These are long, kind of like tent pins. I definitely did put these in the ground, obviously, but honestly, I don't think these are going to be enough, especially in this video. As you can see, I'm in a new location that is very, very windy. The wind was gusting like crazy on the day that I put this hoop house up. You'll see here in a second when I go to put the plastic on that it is just whipping like crazy. However, it was pretty secure, but I'm going to definitely stake this and may even build a frame to just shore up the structure even more to make sure it's not going to go anywhere and make sure that it's nice, sturdy, and secure. As for these metal posts, I'm not sure if they're aluminum or what kind of metal they are. They do feel very, very strong, which I'm pleased about. They don't seem like they have a lot of bend or anything. There wasn't any kind of dents from shipping, and they seem like they are a good quality that should last a while, especially with that kind of thick protective paint coating over top of it, which I thought was really nice. I unraveled this plastic outer exterior, and it's nice and large, and I was surprised to find that it's exactly fit to the form of the greenhouse. So there really isn't no kind of like, adjustment that you have to do yourself, which I thought was a really good feature. As you can see here in the wind on this particular day, it was a little bit difficult to put this plastic on the greenhouse by myself. I'm sure that if I had another person to help me, it would have been a lot easier, but still it wasn't, something that I couldn't have done on my own. As you can see, it is a very tight fit. I actually like a lot. All of the seams of the plastic seem to line up exactly with the corners of the metal frame, which I think is very helpful, especially in serving as a guide when you are putting the greenhouse plastic over top of the frame. You can see when I initially got the plastic on the frame, I had it askew and off center. That's why that door was so far on the right and one of the windows, was moved over. But with a little bit of effort, I was able to kind of adjust everything and squeeze everything over to the left a little bit to where it was a perfect fit. I do like the features of this plastic. I like that there are doors on both ends. I like that there are these windows that can be used for venting. Of course, if you're venting a greenhouse, you can always roll up the sides as well. So I think that's a good option on cooler days and, throughout winter when you really want to vent things. Another feature that I really liked is that the plastic was long enough to reach the bottom. You can see it blowing with the wind and everything, but there was enough excess plastic at the bottom to where I will be able to attach that to like a piece of lumber, or even if I wanted to use like sandbags or something like that, or use dirt to cover the bottom of it, like a more traditional kind of low tunnel hoop house situation, I could have done that as well. Before planting, obviously, I'm going to be tilling the inside of this and doing a lot more work to secure it. I'm going to probably put a baseboard to secure that plastic down nice and tight, but I don't think that should be any problem. I love these zippered doors. As you can see from the plastic, I'm not sure if the camera is doing that weird stripe thing, like sometimes you see because of the pattern of the plastic. But it is very thick. I don't know the thickness of it, unfortunately. But I am just very, very pleased with the overall quality of the product I received. These joints seem like they're going to hold up very well. There isn't any kind of sag or give in the middle of this hoop house, even though it's pretty long. This is a 20-foot long hoop house, and there are no middle support beams like vertically. It seems like there's not a lot of sag or anything. It seems like everything's going to go really well, especially for me, since I don't get very much snow here. I don't think I'm going to have any problems. If somebody gets a lot of snow, I'm not sure how that would affect it. It's just something to consider. But overall, I think this is a really solid choice for anybody who is considering their first hoop house or wants to get into overwintering and hoop house growing in their own backyards. This was really easy. The entire process took me just over 2 hours. I think I took 2 hours and 3 minutes. I timed it, and it actually would have been even shorter if I wouldn't have had so much trouble with that one connector that was really giving me a hard time. But definitely a good experience. I want to thank Quictent for their support. Obviously, I could not run this channel without the support of everyone. I get a lot of offers to do reviews and things, and I do try to be selective, so I think this was a good choice. I'm sure you will be continuing to see this greenhouse throughout the growing season and definitely into the spring when I start my winter sowing method, because I definitely am going to be starting a lot of seed trays in here using the winter sowing method. I think it would be absolutely ideal for that purpose. If you are interested in checking out this, there is an affiliate link down below, and that takes you to their website, and you can get there's a discount code down there to get some money off for that. So that's really about it for this video. Thank you so incredibly much for taking the time to watch. It really does mean a lot to me, and every little bit helps in keeping this channel going and keeping this kind of little flower farm dream of mine going. So I am very, very appreciative of that. I really do genuinely mean that. As always, links to my blog and Instagram and Patreon and everything are down below. Be sure to check them out if you want to. I hope that you're having such an incredible day, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.